I recently stumbled upon a video called 5 bands I just don't understand the success of. Normally I'd just scroll past something like that because I think who cares why someone doesn't get baby metal or why they are popular. But this time I was like, hold up, why don't people get baby metal? What's so hard to understand? So I started thinking about what might confuse people about baby metal, why some people just aren't into them, and some criticism that actually makes sense. This isn't a response to the creator of said video. He made a lot of points I've heard a million times before. Instead, this is for anyone who just doesn't vibe with the band. If you're one of those people who can't stand baby metal, maybe give this video a shot. I've linked the original video in the description anyway because it inspired me to make this video. So let's keep the comments respectful over there. Everyone's got their own opinions. Point number 1. Baby metal is an idol group. I can understand that people don't like the idol concept, especially in metal, but does it really matter? I mean, the producer of them, Kei Kobayashi or Koba Metal, is an old metalhead himself. And since he heard Suzuko's voice, he thought he could form a band around her, mixing idol dance with metal. The concept is genius. The whole vibe of the Kami band kicking things off by showing off their skills on the instruments, followed by the girls stepping on stage and getting the crowd hyped, is just awesome. And then you get this super satisfying blend of metal and dance. Seriously, how could this idea not work? It's so clever that you can't help but think, why didn't anyone come up with this sooner? With those 3 girls fitting in so perfectly, success was a given. Honestly, it's a bit wild how everything about this band just clicked from the get-go. Everything about it is spot on and totally makes sense. So please, just tell me what you don't understand about it. Still you get those people who are saying, yeah, it's great and all, but it's an idol group that doesn't really count. Some people just can't help but hate on stuff. And they not only bring metal closer to the people, I never cared about dancing before them. But now I find myself appreciating cool choreographies thanks to their songs like Yava, Catch Me If You Can and Headbanger. I never thought I'd be into that, but here we are. So yeah, even as a metal fan, I've discovered something new and fun through baby metal. And does the fact that they were thrown together make the music worse? Look at other bands who were put together by label executives, like Linkin Park, and how big they became. This argument is so tired and boring. Yeah, they are an idol group technically, okay, so what? Isn't it that the final product should be the most important here, which is the music? Just because they are not formed in your grandpa's garage doesn't make them not a band. You can talk shit about their style all you want, and that's fine if you don't like it, but I can't take anyone seriously when they have no actual criticism of the music itself. I like the fact that they never tried to hide their origin or pretend to be something they aren't. They even said they found metal scary in the beginning, but learned to respect and like it since they saw Metallica perform at a festival in Japan. Which brings me to point number 2. The girls didn't even know what metal was when they created the band. This is one of the criticisms I just don't get at all. Everyone in a metal band has to discover metal at some point. For Yui, Moa and Sue, that moment was when Kobayashi invited them to join baby metal. They learned to love metal through the experience. I think it's awesome that these girls who didn't know much about metal ended up shaking up the genre. If you don't like that 3 teenage girls made it big in metal, that's on you, buddy. The best part is they don't even care what boring metalheads think. And that's pretty metal in itself. And nothing is less metal than old guys who can't accept that 3 girls are just doing what they enjoy. They've worked hard and shown passion, and that's why they are successful. Point number 3. It is weird to watch 40-year-old girls dance. Honestly, I get why some people might find it a bit strange. Seeing young Japanese girls in skirts dancing on stage can raise some eyebrows, especially with adult men in the audience. As a grown man, it's not exactly something you'd casually tell your friends, hey, I'm really into baby metal. It just feels weird, especially these days when just saying a friendly hi to a little girl on the street could get you in trouble as a man. So I can see why supporting baby metal back in the day wasn't the easiest thing to do. Sure, the girls were young, but I genuinely love their music. And it's a bummer to be labeled as weird for that. Yeah, there are definitely some odd people out there, and we all know who I'm talking about. But can I just say that Doki Doki Morning is my absolute jam? The choreography is awesome, the song is super catchy and the girls are just adorable. I have a little niece and a little sister, so is it wrong for me to think a girl is cute? Women can say that without a second thought. If I showed my mom the Doki Doki Morning video, she'd probably be like, what are you watching, son? And I totally get it. But it's a shame that if you're a guy and you say you think Babymetal is cool, you get weird looks. I didn't even know about Babymetal until about 4 years ago, so I think a lot of this criticism is kind of outdated. Now the new thing people say is that all the fans are just simps who think the girls are pretty. Sure, Babymetal has some eye candy and it's hard to deny that their looks contribute to their success, but that's true for a lot of bands. Take Bring Me The Horizon for example. Lots of girls thought Oliver Sykes was super cute and that definitely helped their popularity. Personally, I think Moa is one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. But does that mean I'm a fan just because of that? Why should I support the band just because I find one of the members attractive? It doesn't change how much I enjoy their music. In the end, it's a complicated topic. Like I said at the start, I get where the criticism is coming from, and I would really be interested in your opinion on that topic. Point number 4. The girls don't write their own lyrics. Honestly, I don't get why people expect 40-year-old girls who were still in school when the band kicked off and had to learn all those dance moves to be writing their own songs. Bands like Bring Me The Horizon, Rise Against and Billy Talent are some of my faves. Not just because the music rocks, but also because I respect and appreciate that they write their own lyrics. But come on, it's obvious that when Babymetal started, they had other people writing for them. They were just kids. Sure, in the metal scene it's pretty standard for bands to write their own stuff, but most of Babymetal's early lyrics weren't exactly deep, so who really cares? Other people wrote fun lyrics and the girls brought them to life. In addition, they have a really complex choreography for every song, which most other bands don't have. The girls probably created many of the choreographies themselves, and I believe that is at least as tricky as writing songs. But critics usually overlook how much talent that takes. The girls dance so relaxed and casually that it looks like it's not exhausting at all. But let's be honest, most of us wouldn't even come close to performing that well in such a long live performance. And by the way, can we just take a moment to appreciate that during the live shows Suzuka not only sings for a long time, but is also dancing the whole time? And somehow she still has the best vocals in the metal scene? Show Suzuka a little more respect. Yui and Moa actually wrote Yon no Uta themselves after Sue challenged them, and it's awesome to see how much fun they have performing it live. You can tell they really wanted to make the song as cool as possible on stage for the live crowd. But honestly, the fact that Yui and Moa wrote the song probably doesn't matter, does it? Some folks who aren't into Babymetal don't care if the girls write their own stuff or not. And what about Divine Attack, which Sue wrote? I think it's the best track on the last album, but again, the fact that Sue wrote it doesn't really change anything for people outside the fanbase. Songs that were written in collaboration, like Kingslayer, Berghoff or Ratatata, probably didn't have a lot of input from the girls either. But who cares? The songs are awesome because the whole Babymetal crew is super talented. Remember, Babymetal isn't just the 3 girls you see on stage, it's the whole team behind them. Point number 5. The language barrier. I'm totally cool with this point. If someone says they can't vibe with Japanese or want to get the lyrics to a song, that's all good. My English isn't perfect either, so I don't always catch everything in English songs, but once I look up the lyrics, I usually enjoy the song way more. Which makes sense. As long as you say something like I don't like Japanese songs instead of Japanese sucks, then it's all good. And while we're at it, it's totally fine if you are not a fan of Suzuka's voice. I mean, her voice was always incredible, but I get it. When she was younger, her voice might have felt a bit too young for some people. But she's grown up and has an amazing voice. A lot of people don't realize that though. They remember Gimme Chocolate from over a decade ago and think the band and her voice is still the same. For some reason, my female best friend can't stand any female singer in a metal band, no matter who they are. I can't really explain it, but that's just how it is and I respect it. For me, I can't stand the lead singer of Green Day. No real reason, I just don't like his voice. And I think everyone has that one band they just can't get into because of the singer. And that's totally fine. There are tons of other bands out there, but the key difference is that I'm not saying Green Day is terrible, I'm just saying they're not my thing. Point number 6. They are too young. Some people just aren't into the band because the girls are pretty young. I know that sounds like the same criticism we talked about earlier, but my point isn't just that they are young girls, it's more about how young they actually were back then. I thought about a good comparison to help explain why some people have an issue with this, and the best example I could think of is Justin Bieber. Hear me out, he burst onto the scene out of nowhere, got super famous really fast, and grabbed a ton of attention. Older people weren't really on board with a teenager getting all the hype. He was definitely aimed at a younger crowd, and he nailed it. Personally, I never really got into the whole Justin Bieber thing, so maybe my comparison isn't perfect, but I think there are some similarities. Babymetal started out targeting a younger audience too, trying to get more girls into metal. But then they ended up appealing to older fans as well, because their whole vibe was something fresh and different, and let's be real, the metal scene could use that. I don't think Justin Bieber was exactly reinventing the wheel back then though. Babymetal really hit the jackpot when a bunch of big metal bands thought they were awesome. Their big moment came at the Sonisphere Festival in 2014, and after that, they become a hot topic in the metal world. You either loved them or hated them. I honestly don't get how someone can hate on a band or a boy just because they are suddenly popular. It's kind of weird, even with Justin Bieber. I never understood why adults would pick on a teenager for no reason. I'm not trying to act all superior or anything, but it just doesn't make sense to me. When I stumbled upon Babymetal in 2019 or 2020 and learned about their rise to fame, I was super happy for them. And it's not just because I dig their music, but the girls are just so likable. After watching a few interviews, you can't help but root for them. It's wild that some adults would go after these young girls just because they feel offended for some reason, especially when most of the big metal bands actually support Babymetal. What cracks me up is that a lot of the people who hate on them probably have a little sister or even a daughter. Like, why not support these girls who are making music they love? Music that you love as well, apparently. Or at least not hate these ladies for no reason. I once saw a video of a little girl at her first Babymetal concert, and she was just beaming with happiness. It's so nice to see, and that's what Babymetal is all about. Having fun and enjoying music. Why am I making such a long video that actually explains Babymetal perfectly? Lol. Point number 7. Metal can't be cute. This is honestly the weakest criticism out there. The gatekeepers in the metal scene are just ridiculous. I'll never get it. Like, seriously. People freak out over bands like Bad Omens, Sleep Token and Babymetal, saying they are not metal. Why do folks act like that? If you don't vibe with a band, that's cool. But why do you have to insist that they are not metal? It's such a pointless argument. If fans dig a band, who cares if you think they are metal enough? It's often the silliest things that make people decide a band isn't metal. I can't tell you how many times I've shown someone Gimme Chocolate. It starts off metal, but as soon as the girl starts singing, suddenly it's not metal anymore. Come on, as if the vocals alone determine if a song is metal. These are the same people who rate a metal song a 2 out of 10, but then lose their minds over a breakdown, and suddenly it's a 9 out of 10. And even if you're not into the whole kawaii metal thing, that band has moved on from that sound for the most part. Their latest album has some killer metal tracks that most metalheads would totally dig if they weren't stuck on old songs from over a decade ago. Like, bands can evolve, especially when the members were just kids back then. Whatever, gatekeeping is just nonsense and I can't take it seriously. But hey, it sets us up nicely for the next point, which is point number 8. It's fun. Some people just can't handle the fact that metal can be fun.
Remember fun? Why do you hate things? Have fun!
I mean, why can't metal and fun go hand in hand? It's like some people think the music has to be all dark and serious, and if you admit you enjoy Babymetal, you're somehow weak. Seriously, who cares about that? Just like what you like. For me, I love this Apate song or whatever. Never ever cared about Bruno Mars. My ex-girlfriend introduced me to Olivia Rodrigo, and now I'm vibing with 3 of her songs. They are not what I was supposed to like, but who cares? It's just music. Would I be embarrassed to listen to Olivia Rodrigo in front of my metal friends? Hell no. Why do people make such a big deal out of it? If a song hits you, just enjoy it. This form of self-sabotage needs to be studied. I'm super glad that bands like Babymetal and Electric Callboy are showing that metal can be a blast. Ratatata was like a big screw you to the old school metal fans, who don't get that the new wave of metal fans just want to have a good time. That song blew up and the live videos got millions of views on YouTube. Should we keep the same bands headlining festivals forever, or let newer bands like Sleep Token and Electric Callboy shine? No one's taking away Slipknot or Korn from you. I love them too. But there are so many bands at festivals you can't see them all anyway, so just skip the ones you are not into. Bands like Babymetal and Electric Callboy are great for bringing new fans into metal. We should all be happy about that. My little sister, who's 20 years old and not really into metal, had a blast with Electric Callboy at Novarock. And Babymetal, they are also amazing at turning non-metal fans into metalheads. Point number 9. Everything felt way too scripted and staged. Alright, last criticism for today, but it's more of a throwback. Back in the day, their live shows were super scripted, and during interviews the girls would often just say things like
Fox got announced.
if a question didn't vibe with them. I always thought that Fox God thing was pretty funny, but you could tell they didn't have as much freedom back then as they do now. Maybe it was just because they were so young, and this gimmick was a way to protect them while staying in character, and it was a good way to grab attention. But nowadays, you can really see they have way more freedom on stage. They have so much fun. Just look at the music video for Ratatata. It's clear the Babymetal team has loosened up a bit. And the girls still have so much fun with their music. Plus, we are lucky they didn't just call it quits when the girls outgrew the original concept. Sue and Moa probably had a big hand in keeping things going since Babymetal means a lot to them. But overall it's just great to see everyone sticking with it. I mean, let's be real, money definitely plays a part too, obviously. But yeah, what's the deal with Babymetal now? They are probably one of the most talked about metal band in history. And you know what? That's part of what makes them legendary at such a young age. They have put in a ton of hard work, and big names like Corey Taylor, Jonathan Davis, Oliver Sykes, Herman Lee and Rob Halford have had their back since day one. And when Rob Halford says that something is metal, you really have no arguments left. Everyone who's worked with them has nothing but good things to say about the whole Babymetal crew. Sure, they first got noticed with those reaction videos to Gimme Chocolate, but they are so much more than that. They've been in the music game for over a decade, and it's not just about going viral. They have really evolved since their sweet beginnings with that first album. Their newer stuff might actually win over a lot of their critics. But let's be real, some people will probably always hold onto those early judgments. Getting Babymetal is pretty easy. Suzuka has an amazing voice, and Moa, Yui and Momoko are incredible dancers. The songwriters and musicians they work with are top-notch too. Watching them blend metal with perfectly synced dance moves is not just cool, it's a refreshing change in the metal scene, which can sometimes feel a bit stale. At such a young age, these girls have already done a lot for the Japanese metal scene, opening doors for other bands that might not have had the same opportunities. They are friendly, down to earth, and every member of the team pulls their weight. Fans get an unforgettable show every time, and it's just a blast. So, you don't have to be a diehard fan to appreciate what they do. Honestly, I don't care who likes them or not. Everyone has their reasons, but I really think a lot of people would have a great time if they just gave Babymetal a fair shot.